And they're like, you think we should turn back? I said, we turn back. We're turning back to the jungle. How the hell are we going to get another alternator here? Can we make it to Nicaragua on one? So now the alternators was because we had a bladder, right? In those airplanes, you have to have a big bladder, which is, rubber, like Goodyear used to make them.
Yeah.
And then we have extra fuel, and the fuel would be pumped out to the tank, so we would have longer range, right?
Okay.
Because when you load those airplanes with 400 kilos of cocaine, then the range of it drops, right? So you put extra gas, and then you'll be able to land from Bolivia nonstop to Colombia.
And where does the cocaine go? Like what part of the plane do you put? Do you have to hide it, or you just put
no,
you don't even hide it?
On top of the bladders, yeah. In
duffel
bags.
Who cares? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, we had every country paid off.
Okay,
we
that
had
makes sense.
Everybody wherever that airplane flew over, somebody that ran a radar was paid off, and some president was paid off to make sure the guy that ran the radar was paid off. So yeah, we did it, man. We flew like we're just delivering toys for
Yeah, go ahead, check the plane. I dare
you. Exactly. So I'm going, and then the other alternator breaks, and then we crash landed in Panama, right? So you see a copy. If you see a picture of my book, the plane landed like this. We should have all died. When the plane lands in Panama, immediately the police came and...
Got caught in a tree or something?
No. We ran out of fuel, and we crash landed. Thank God it was a banana field that had just been cut days earlier. So it was all like rains and mushy. So it was like mud.
Yeah.
So the plane just dived. Otherwise, it could have exploded. So I jumped out. The guy, my partner, the guy that I hired to transport it for me, Harold, he jumps out and says, blow the airplane. Take the flare gun and let's blow the freaking airplane. And I'm like, oh, hell no, we're not. I said, dude, there's $7 million of cocaine in that airplane. He said, George, you can make it again. Blow the airplane or you can go to jail. I said, I'm in my country. I bribe anybody I want out here. I ain't worried about going to jail in South America.
Right.
So the police come, and I had a Samsonite briefcase that had a false bottom, and I always kept I traveled with $100,000 all the time. And I took out, that's the mistake I made. I took out $200. I should have just told the guy what was going on and say, hey, here's $10,000, which is today's money is $200,000, to a guy that probably made $10 a week, a month. He would have guarded that airplane with his life. I said, look, we crashed. We were looking for some land to buy, and we had a problem with the alternator. We crashed. And he couldn't go in the airplane because we had to literally jump off. So he had to bring a ladder to be able to go in the airplane.
Right.
So I felt good about that. And I said, hey, here's my passports. Can you stamp them so that we came in legally? Take us to a hotel. I'm going to make some phone calls so I can get someone tomorrow morning from Costa Rica. So Costa Rica was only about 10 miles from there. Mm-hmm. And we had spent over $1 million to get that president elected in Costa Rica. So we had a lot of power in Costa Rica. We knew it'd be totally safe. We'll take the cocaine right in the car, right through the border.
How did you spend $10 million to get a president elected?
Because you end up having all kinds of connections all over the world, right? Everybody knows somebody. See, right. the people wonder, like, how do you bribe somebody? Everybody has a best friend, and the best friend has a best friend. Mm-hmm. And you can always get to somebody. Like they'll say money corrupts, and absolute money corrupts absolutely. Well, that's it. I mean, when people are making nothing and people need money, like, well, today, so it costs $1 billion to run for president. Short of being Bloomberg and paying for your own election,
right?
You got people giving you a lot of money. They're not giving you a lot of money because they like you, because you're pretty and you talk nice. They give you a lot of money because you're going to do what they say. And that's the bottom line, right?
Right.
We wanted to buy the Playboy Hotel in Costa Rica, so because it was a good way to launder money. So I knew that we had no problem. So we went to the hotel. I made a phone call, and they sent a car the following morning. So I went to a police station to pick out the passports. And when I went to a police station to pick out the passport, I saw these gringos. I'm like, we're fucked. I said, we got a problem.
FBI?
It was the head of the DEA for Panama. It was the consul general for Panama. And it was the head of the G2 for Panama. They come and they had all the cocaine in a table just like this. And they put us behind it. They took pictures of us. And I said, I want to talk to my attorney.
Good luck.
And they're like, dude, you're in Panama. This is Napoleonic law. We can keep you 7 years without you talking to anybody. I'm saying, sure. Say, sooner or later, somebody big is going to come see me. I'm convinced of that. Mm. Exactly. The following day, the Attorney General comes. And when the Attorney General comes, I said, look, don't waste my time. I got two questions. How much money to buy the cocaine back? How much money to leave?
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Noriega already sold the cocaine, $250,000 for you to leave. 100 for you, 50 for each of the other ones. I'm like, okay, so take this number and this code, call this number, and I told him the code to give, and I said, tomorrow, you'll have the money here. And then, sure enough, 2 days later he comes, he says, everything's set, we're going to take you to Panama City.
How did that work? How do you make a phone call from Nicaragua and get someone
From Panama.
From Panama, and what did
to the United States.
They wired money?
No, someone flew it.
Someone
bought it.
flew cash the next day.
Remember, we're talking about 1979.
So you had someone ready to go on call at all times to deliver money anywhere in the world.
We had all kinds of emergency programs in place, right? So like for when we went to deliver a car, we always had a suicide car, which meant that if a cop is following you and you got the cocaine in your car, on the suicide car, I'm to ram your car and destroy you. And take me to jail for or whatever you want, but nothing's going to happen to the cocaine. Okay. So we had all kinds of contingency plans, right?
Okay.
And then we had all kinds of codes at that time. Remember, during this time, there's no cell phones. This is all dial phones, you know?
Right.
And satellite phones. And the number that they would call is a satellite. And when they call that number, no one is supposed to call that number unless any of us, the major people in the organization, were in deep trouble.
Got it. Okay.
So whoever had that, and he was given that code and told where, he knew what he had to deliver, where, how much money, and to who.
That's insane.
So yeah. So anyway, it happened like that. So he can look, they're going to take you to Panama City. They're going to rough you up, make it look good for the DEA, and you're going on to Costa Rica. Show me the airplane tickets, everything ready. I make the mistake and I go back and I tell Harold in front of the pilots, don't worry, man. I just bribed the Attorney General. We're out of here in 2 days. 2 days came. They picked us up, flew us to Panama City, private jet, everything beautiful. And we get to Panama City and there's a room, big conference room, nothing, 4 chairs up against the wall. So they tell us to sit down. We sit down. And all of a sudden they open the door and they bring this Panamanian kid, completely naked, handcuffed, probably about 5'1", 9,500 pounds. They threw him on the floor, feet handcuffed, hands handcuffed, and they took a broomstick and stuck it up his ass. And blood just splattered all over the place. Until the kid I thought they killed him. And they looked at us and looked at us and says, we caught him with 10 pounds of marijuana. In other words, we got you guys with 250 kilos of cocaine. Think what's happening. Two big old Georgia pilots, 6'2", and 6'3". The minute they saw that, we'll tell. Because the story was that I was just flying. I was going to meet with the Sandinistas, and I was supposed to give them the suitcases that I thought had guns, and they were going to pay me $25,000, which would have been nothing in Latin America, right? I didn't know there was cocaine in there. So if we stuck to that story, it would have been no problem because we crash landed in Panama. We didn't land in Panama to do something in Panama. So the Attorney General was going to leave us on the fact he had no jurisdiction over us, right? But when the minute that he saw that, they told him, number one, not only is Jorge Valdes the biggest drug dealer in America, he just bribed the Attorney General. And that shit hit the fan. They sent him to Miami, and they took me and Harold, their boss, and they took us in a dungeon for 27, 28 days, and they torture us day and night, to the point that for 5 years, every time I went to a bathroom, I pissed blood. They would just come in and just beat us till we pass out. They would throw gasoline on us, cattle prod to my testicles. I would jump this high and somehow pass out. But it's interesting, as I tell you about mindset, one of those times that I pass out, I had this vision. And the vision is I'm shaving. And I see my son, my youngest son, who was only 6 months old, but he's about 7 or 8. And he comes and he's crying. And he's like, I'm like, why are you crying, Georgie? He's like, Dad, my friend said that my father's not a man. And I said that day, I'm going to die in this son of a bitch. But I'm not giving him nothing.